Good evening, everybody. It's 9:30 on the East Coast, 6:30 on the West Coast. On a Monday, it must mean it's time for your weekly Calamity Jane live stream. Sorry, James, I didn't have my own self view on, so I was just looking at your gorgeous face and not my ugly mug. So
I don't even
had
know
to
what
fix
to. I don't
that.
even know what
Had to
this.
fix that situation, but we're good to go now.
I'm glad we both have our mugs on. I'm going to be neutral
Um,
with whether we're gorgeous or ugly. I just
all
want to
right,
just play straight down the middle
all
myself.
right,
Just
all right.
get the ball over the plate and say, "Yeah, great to see you. Great to hang out with you."
Sorry we're
I'm
running late,
hoping.
everybody. We had
Yeah,
some challenges to deal with, but we're in good shape now. We're in good shape now.
yeah. So the one thing I want to double check because last week we started a stream and like you thought you had the mic on, then
Yeah,
I guess it
yeah.
flipped
It's
off. So we're just doing our. We were kind of doing some pregame warm up checks too. Might
Yeah,
as well just
and
check that
I'm
stuff
I'm
out.
getting
So
I'm getting levels. I'm getting levels. So we're in good shape. We're in good shape. Yeah.
great. So yeah, so I'm doing great over here, and I'm hoping things are great over there as far as our typical weather talk that we usually do.
It's
We usually do
hot
before.
as hell in Georgia, and I'm not a huge fan of that, but otherwise it's going okay.
So on my side, Amit and I went to one of her cousin's her cousin's son's wedding, and we were in Texas. And
Mm-hmm.
so I understand hot as hell for a little bit, for about a few
Mm-hmm.
days. It
Mm-hmm.
was in the hundreds a few of those
Mm-hmm.
days. You could pretty much microwave your hot pocket on the pavement kind of thing, fry eggs on the pavement. It was pretty hot, at least for me. And again, I'm spoiled because, on the West Coast, we're getting 75, 80 degrees. So
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
But yeah, so I feel your pain. Although it was dry, so I'll tell you, like being raised in Utah, we had dry heat there, and I didn't mind it. And in Texas, same thing. I don't mind dry heat, but
Mm.
Georgia heat
Whew. It's
or
a swamp,
Southern
man.
U.S. heat, where it's balmy and humid.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, you feel like you need to take a shower after you step outside. Yeah, that's not fun heat. So
I
I'm
mean,
sorry.
fortunately, I'm heading to Seattle on
Yeah,
Wednesday.
yeah.
And the forecast puts it at around 75 degrees up there for the rest of the
That's
week.
the that's loving it,
And
right?
yeah, oh yeah, and down here it's supposed to be like incredibly hot, like triple digits down
Oh,
here. So
so you're gonna make another escape.
yeah,
That's good.
making an escape. Looking forward to it. It'll be a fun time for anybody who's
Yeah.
up in Seattle who happens to see this next or later this week. I'll be at the Penny Arcade Expo, which is a huge gaming convention. So you can stop by and check out the game that I work on that people actually pay me to help work on. So as
Cool.
opposed to our silliness that we do here.
Yeah, speaking of silliness, I'll jump into our scene today and
Amazing
we'll
transition, like a late night host.
sometimes
Beautiful
sometimes.
transition. All right.
Okay. Here we go. Share screen. All right. Um this is where we left off last week,
Mm-hmm.
where I was working on the pose. I was trying to do the red line and follow the arc, and I'll keep
Mm-hmm.
on going here. I mean, I blocked out the basic poses from the animatic, but this scene's more complicated. So I'll probably be kind of finagling stuff here and there
Okay.
as I go, but I'll keep on blocking and everything else, and yeah,
Excellent.
we'll chat as I work on this thing a little
Excellent.
bit.
So
Um,
you have seen a movie that I haven't seen, which is a weird turnabout. But
yeah,
so tell me
yeah.
about this movie.
So I went and saw Alien Romulus last week. Meet and I just on a whim decided to go see it.
Mm-hmm.
I have to say, my initial impressions of this movie, and even a week later, the resonance that's it's left me with is it's a great installment to the Alien franchise.
Mm-hmm.
And part of it is I don't know whether I'm just starving for something good to come out of the Alien movie
Uh-huh.
lineup,
Uh-huh.
because it feels like it's always hit or misses with what they do. This one was extremely solid. I really liked it. There are moments where it's kind of odd, here and there. Like there's some spots where like, but it was enough for me to stay interested in the movie, and I thought
Mm-hmm.
it was excellent. I think overall the pacing was just fine. The director, Fede, I think, let me look up his name, the director, Fede Rodriguez or something.
Okay.
Alien Romulus. Who is that? The director. Uh Director. Fede Alvarez.
Okay. Fede
Um,
Alvarez. Okay.
yeah, you could tell Fede was a huge fan of the Alien series. Like the sets. Okay, so here's some great things about this movie. The
Hmm.
practical effects were excellent,
Yeah, I heard that
and they
they went
use
beyond, above and beyond for the practical effects.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I think from a technical standpoint, just watching the film in that regard, with that lens, that's why I really do put it up there higher. Like
Hmm.
they seemed really smart in picking their spots where they wanted to use, CGI versus good old fashioned sets and suits and like, actual tactile, costumes and stuff. It was a really good. I just overall it was a really good um attachment to everything. I would put it roughly in the top. It's still, Alien and Aliens probably go one and two. You could interchange either one depending
Hmm.
on your mood. I think because they're so both of them are so solid. This one's number three easily. I was not a big fan of Prometheus. I wasn't a big fan of any of the. I don't even remember. I can't remember the names of some of the other ones. Alien Three. I don't know what they called that one.
It just was
Um,
Alien 3. Yeah.
it was just Alien Three. Okay, it didn't have any. Then there was Alien Resurrection. Is that the one with the creepy mom one with the
Yeah.
skull face?
Yeah.
That yeah. Um, there, this one does have that creepy, weird, almost kind of comical ending, sort of. I don't want to try to do too
Hmm.
many spoilers. I mean,
Okay.
we're kind of a week out, so I don't know
Yeah.
whether we do spoilers just yet. But I will say it didn't matter because the rest of the movie was so good, and I think I was just starving for something good for
Hmm.
Alien. There's a lot more good than bad, but
Hmm.
it doesn't break the first two, but it's it's excellent compared to the rest of them, at least in my opinion. So I don't know where you rank the other Alien movies or the franchise, or you gave up on them like you have with comic book movies and Marvel. I don't know where you're at with Aliens, but
I
I
mean, I
thought we
gave,
started off.
yeah, I mean, I love the first two movies. I think most people do.
Mhm.
The third one was weird. Um, but it wasn't bad
Yeah,
necessarily. It was just
yeah,
like, it was one of those weird hypotheticals that was actually reality. Like, I think in most universes you say, what if David Fincher directed an Alien movie, and everybody goes, oh, that's silly, what a weird idea, but then like he actually did, right? I mean, like, that's sort of the way I describe Alien 3. um Alien Resurrections was, I don't know, it was a movie. It had Brad Dourif in it, so I give it points for that. Like, anything that has Brad Dourif in it, I will always give it
Mhm.
points because I love Brad Dourif. But I don't, aside from the weird human drippy gooey alien monster thing,
Mhm.
I don't really remember a lot of the movie. There was a swimming alien in really bad
Yeah.
CG. I remember the really bad CG swimming alien. Um,
Mhm. Mhm.
and then after that, like, Alien versus Predator, both of those were just terrible. And I think that's it mostly, right? Like, I don't know that there's been, has there? Oh yeah, yeah, Prometheus
There,
and Alien Covenant. I never saw Alien Covenant. Prometheus I thought was one of the worst movies I had seen that year.
yeah, it's weird because I want to give Ridley Scott props and his flowers for
Mm-hmm.
anything that he does. I could not do it for. I didn't know what was going on with him on
Mm-hmm.
Prometheus. Like, and I don't know. I mean, maybe, correct me if I'm wrong on this, but
Yeah.
when they released Prometheus, they didn't even really. At least my impression was, is this an alien movie? Is this not? Like they didn't. They were being coy with it, and I think the
Mm-hmm.
marketing really hurt it. Like I actually wanted to. I actually want to be. I guess I'm just binary with one. I want a 0 or 1. Tell me what this is. Is this an Alien sequel or not? But if you just tell me, oh, Ridley Scott's doing another sci-fi movie, I have different level of expectations because of what he did with Alien, right?
I think the good news is that whether you watch it as an alien movie or a standalone science fiction movie, it's bad no matter how you slice it. So
Yeah,
I wouldn't feel guilty about bringing biases into
yeah,
this one. It's just a bad movie.
yeah,
It's just a bad movie. Um,
yeah.
and uh, it didn't make any sense. Like, it just, anyway. Yeah, it was a bad movie.
Well,
And I never, it was so bad I didn't bother with Alien Covenant.
I don't even remember what I don't know even what happened to Alien Covenant. I don't even know if I saw it or not. That's how
Hmm.
non-memorable, if that's even a word, those last ones were. I don't even who directed Alien Covenant. Was it another Ridley Scott movie?
No, I
Like,
don't
did
think
he
Ridley
do that?
Scott directed Alien Covenant.
Okay.
But I don't remember off the top of my head who it was. Maybe it was like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm curious. I'm not going to say who it is. Well, I guess I'll put my money with. For some reason I think it was James Mangold. Let's find out if I'm right.
Oh,
No. Let's
okay.
find out if I'm right. I don't want to like. Uh, I don't know why I think it was him. Oh no, it was Ridley Scott. He directed Alien Covenant. Wow.
Wow. Double
Wow.
wow, both of us.
Yeah, not good.
So, so, yeah, what was Alien Covenant like ranked? Like, was it received terribly by the critics? Like, what was it?
IMDb has it pegged at 6.4 out of 10. So,
Man, for Ridley Scott, that's not good for
no.
him.
No.
Um, but yeah, it just kind of adds to it. Kind of puts these blemishes on his
I mean,
career
Ridley
when,
Scott has done bad movies before. I mean, he's
yeah,
not infallible, but
I know, but I want him to be infallible as a thing because I
yeah.
loved Alien so much. It's like it's the same thing with like M. Night Shyamalan. Like when he did
Yeah, The Sixth
the
Sense.
Sixth Sense, you just have these high expectations that
Mm-hmm.
they'll keep hitting those home runs, and when they don't,
Mm-hmm.
except for M. Night Shyamalan, I don't. I mean, he's had middling success with some other stuff. I did mine Unbreakable and stuff like that, but the rest of the stuff is just so kind of predictable because he's trying to be unpredictable and blah blah blah.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, but with Ridley Scott, he's had some really good home runs. Gladiator, I enjoyed. I loved Alien. Like, those are just two off the top of my head. I'm sure there's other
Matchstick
ones.
Men was phenomenal.
I haven't seen that one, so I need
Yeah.
to. I guess it sounds like I should probably watch that one.
Yeah,
Kind of.
that's Sam Rockwell and
Oh,
who else was in it? Gosh, who was the other? Um,
well, if Sam Rockwell's in it, it's gonna be. There's a chance it's gonna be really good.
yeah, oh, yeah, yeah,
He always does good stuff too.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Um, let's see. Um, oh yeah, yeah. I was just looking at Ridley Scott's list. I mean, it's a million. I mean, he does like 3 movies every year. It's ridiculous. Um, let's see. Producer? No, I don't. I want just director. Um, yeah, Napoleon. Obviously, he directed recently. Oh, I didn't know he
Mm-hmm.
directed. He was the one who directed House of Gucci. That's weird. All right.
Napoleon was a snooze fest. I fell asleep watching it. I tried to watch it. I
I
couldn't get
didn't. I
into it.
didn't waste my time.
Mm.
Um, let's see. Yeah, Alien, Blade Runner, obviously.
Oh, jeez, I forgot
Legend,
that one. See,
obviously. Like, there's so many. Black Rain, Thelma and
these are
Louise,
all these like
1492. Yeah, G.I.
yeah.
Jane, Gladiator, Hannibal, Matchstick Men. Yeah,
Wow.
it
Yeah.
was.
So he's got a.
Oh yeah, it was Nick Cage. I don't know why I was hesitating on that. It was Sam Rockwell and Nick Cage in Matchstick Men.
Oh, well, that's guaranteed to be.
Yeah, it was a great movie. Matchstick Men was a
Yeah.
great movie. And so he's all over the place. Like he does great stuff, and then he does like really weird stuff.
Mm-hmm.
He did The Martian, which was it was okay.
That's all right. That's with Matt Damon, right? When he went to Mars or
Mm-hmm.
something like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was okay. It was all right, but not as fun as. But you know what though? I mean, it still lived up to. I guess I have high expectations because he can do the sci-fi, this fantasy stuff so well
Yeah,
that I just expect a home run every single time.
he's a
But
versatile director.
yeah, yeah, he is very similar to that. Very similar. We raved about George Miller before with how
Mm-hmm.
prolific he
Mm-hmm.
can be. Yeah, Ridley Scott's up there too.
Yeah, yeah, very versatile.
Yeah.
Yeah, Black Hawk Down was another thing that Ridley Scott did, which I thought was a good
Hmm.
movie.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, he's all over the place, but yeah, I mean, he's not infallible. That is for sure.
I know, and I just want him to be infallible. I just want to root for something,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah,
it's not.
I
It
feel
doesn't come
you.
from a bad place. I just want him to be. I'm just a big. I'm a fanboy. I have to
Mm,
admit, I am a fanboy of Ridley Scott. I want him to do well. I've given up on James Cameron.
sure.
I have no hope for him. But when
I
it
mean,
comes
I
to
think
Ridley
the
Scott, I
biggest
still hold him. Yeah.
yeah, I think the biggest disappointment with James Cameron is that the last movie he ever does is Avatar 20.
At this rate,
I
yeah,
just don't think he's gonna
yeah,
do anything other than the Avatar movies at this point. And
yeah. It seems like it.
I
Yeah.
saw the second Avatar movie in theaters. I wasn't going to, but my buddy got a free ticket, so I was like, all right, well if it's free, um,
Uh-huh.
and I think I pissed him off a little bit because I laughed the whole way through. It was one of the
I'm
worst
laughing
movies I
now.
have ever seen. I mean, it was even worse than the first Avatar. Um,
Yeah, and I don't know how you could do that, but he managed to find a way to do that.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a shame.
So, I mean, it was like 3 hours long, and you could have easily cut an hour and a half of that movie, and the story would have been completely unaffected.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
Um,
it's sort of the classic case of someone who has gotten so powerful, no one can tell them no anymore,
yeah. Yeah.
and you really
It's
need someone who can tell you no, right?
yeah. It's super helpful to have objectivity or even have, I mean, this is term I learned back in college, but when you're creating art, and that can go with anything, writing or whatever, you have to maintain a psychic distance from your
Mm-hmm.
work where you don't get too emotionally involved, because you want to try to be as objective as you can and be okay with being fallible. I mean, and
Mm-hmm.
maybe Ridley Scott's doing that. Maybe he is maintaining psychic distance from his own career and trying experimental stuff and failing, and he's okay with it,
And that's
and that's
okay,
okay.
right? Exactly.
Yeah,
I
it
mean,
is, and it is.
it's not like he's poor, right? He's it's not
Yeah,
Ridley Scott's
yeah,
not living paycheck to paycheck, so he has
yeah,
the luxury of being able to take those kinds of risks and not have a
yeah,
lot of, concern about where his next meal is coming from.
yeah. He's fine. He'll be fine. And I mean, as a producer, he got my money anyway with Alien Romulus, and maybe it is good that he handed it off to a fanboy director. I mean, that's what it seemed like to me. Because the sets on Alien Romulus were all they. So if you're looking at the timing, Alien
Hmm.
Romulus takes place between Alien and Aliens, so
Right,
it's technically two in
right.
this timeline
It's a
thing.
pre-sequel, as Borderlands
Yeah,
famously sort of coined.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the sets they just borrowed off of Alien. I mean, it felt like I was watching just another natural sequel to Alien. It was
Hmm.
so cool to have a little bit of nostalgia fun with it, and just seeing how the set. I mean, the sets looked like they were physical things you lived in and could move
Hmm.
around in. The attention of detail to most of the shots and what they were using for props and everything. It didn't nothing felt out of place.
Hmm.
All of it was
Hmm.
great. Um, yeah, I just and they added just enough to the lore. For example, there's a moment with the facehuggers where they add a little bit of lore to them to kind of add to the universe. They don't detract from it at all. They don't really do something kind of really far out there.
Hmm.
Um, there's as you go on the internets and you kind of read reviews, some people have issues with the ending.
Okay.
But that's I also think Alvarez was just a big fan of all the movies, and he was trying to do a
Make them
love letter
all
to other
work.
stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I forgave that. Are there issues with the movie? I guess so. I can't remember off the top of my head anything that was a major criticism for me. I think I
Hmm.
just enjoyed it. And
Hmm.
that's what you want from a movie. You want to check your brain out and enjoy it. Very similar to Deadpool. Like, you just
Hmm.
check your brain out and you just watch it. But that's another bookmark I want to talk to you about while we're on the stream today
Okay.
about Deadpool.
Okay.
So I don't know whether we should transition away from Alien. Romulus, I think the next thing is I'm curious if you do end up seeing it, we'll talk about this again now after paycheck
I
week.
do want to see it. I've been busy, and then I'll be out of town for a week. But I was going to try to catch it when I get back in town sometime next week.
Hmm.
And so yes, so the next time I'm on the stream, so just I won't be around next week, everybody. So it's going to be a solo show with James. But hopefully the next time I'm back on the stream, I will have seen it, and we can loop back around, and
Yeah,
I can give you my feedback.
yeah, yeah. I'm really curious because this is one that'd be kind of fun for us to talk about. But you may just like it, and then it'll be just one of those things where we both just gush over being fanboys, and that's
Yeah,
fine too. We
yeah.
do that just as much. Okay, so let's go back. I got to talk to you about. I've been wanting to ask you this question for a while.
Okay.
So with
All
Deadpool
right.
Wolverine, we both
Yeah.
liked it, all that kind of stuff. I want to. So correct me on this if I'm wrong,
Okay.
but
I'm ready.
Logan
Yeah.
or Old Man, what is it called? The Wolverine, the last one, the Logan one, Old Man Logan
It's just
one,
Logan.
with James.
It was
It's
just
just
called
Logan. Okay,
Logan. Yeah.
I couldn't remember if there's another fancy name to it or not. I'm just going off memory. But Old Man Logan, at least in comic lore, takes place in the future. We've
Mm-hmm.
seen Logan age
Mm-hmm.
and he dies, or blah
Mm-hmm.
blah blah. That's whole story about Old Man Logan is that. So we watched the movie, and the assumption I'm taking when I watch it is, yeah, it's borrowed from the comic lore. It's in the future and there's fancy futuristic trucks on the highway. We know this in the future.
Mm-hmm.
So now we get to, and this is where I'm guilty of maybe overthinking this. We get to Deadpool Wolverine. Deadpool goes and looks for Logan and digs up his grave. Did he go to the future and find future Logan? Because Deadpool's in our prime timeline living in modern day. There's no establishment that he's in the future and watching electric trucks running by. So did he time travel too? It's completely flawed. The whole premise of the starting of the movie is flawed because then he jumps in the timeline and he finds Prime Logan's. But our Prime Logan's alive in your timeline too, dude.
No,
Broken for me.
you're
Broken.
you're 100% correct, and
Oh,
I am loath to defend. Okay, so first off, we've had this conversation. Deadpool and Wolverine is less of a movie and
I
more of a
know.
really sugary sweet candy that
I
tastes
know.
really good and then is just you're hungry an hour later, right?
I
Um,
totally get it. I totally get it.
and so
Um,
I saw that and I'm like, I don't care. Right? Like, it was
what?
just really, but far be it for me to apologize for the movie. But I will say this, okay? So if you're looking for a way to rationalize away a very blatant incongruity, um, keep in mind that at the end of Deadpool 2,
Mm-hmm,
Deadpool took Cable's time watch thing and
mm-hmm,
mucked
mm-hmm,
around in the Fox Universe time stream for God knows how long. And so
mm-hmm.
there is a possibility that in his fucking around with the time stream, he changed some of the reality which contemporized the Logan storyline and made him closer in continuity to where Deadpool was. That's the best I can give
Yeah,
you. It's the best I can
I
give you.
know. I know
Because
you're not trying to. I know you're not trying to apologize to the movie. I'm glad you're able to overlook that because there are times when you don't overlook stuff like that. But in this case, I'm not overlooking that. I just
yeah.
can't.
Yeah.
It just, it when it's that heavy. Yeah, I
Okay,
totally get the sugar rush. I get all that. But here's the thing.
I will also say though, there are no
Mm-hmm.
scenes in Deadpool and Wolverine that show an interstate.
Yeah,
So
yeah, they don't.
who's to say that in the the span between Deadpool 2 and Deadpool and Wolverine that those types of vehicles haven't been invented, right? Who's to say that um Deadpool and Wolverine takes place in the same timeline or time period as Logan, and it's just that Deadpool and Wolverine came out 10 years after Logan came out. Well, not 10 years, but over
Mm-hmm.
5 years away. It is
Yeah,
possible that if you plot the I can't believe we're doing this with these movies.
I know, I know.
If you plot the chronology of Deadpool and Wolverine and Logan and Deadpool 2, right? Like Deadpool and Wolverine takes place after Logan and Deadpool 2 takes place before Logan and then Logan is somewhere in the middle, right?
Yeah,
And so though we're not seeing the super advanced technology in Deadpool and Wolverine, it's not like Logan was like Captain Marvel level sci-fi nonsense or Endgame level sci-fi nonsense. There were just these
sure.
small indicators that we were in the future, and I think that that is perfectly reasonable to extend that grace to Deadpool and Wolverine. But again,
Yeah.
Deadpool and Wolverine was playing pretty fast and loose with continuity.
Oh, yeah. And again, you don't need to be. I appreciate that you're being apologist. You're being an apologist, but you don't really want to. You're just trying to help me
Right.
reconcile this thing, and I get it. And this is
Like,
my fault that
enjoy
we've
the sweet,
completely
sweet
gone off.
candy. Yeah, enjoy the
Okay,
sweet,
but
sweet
this candy.
candy.
I'm feeling. Here's the other issue though. If he did have the time fuckery device that you're talking about, it's been
Yeah.
years since he Deadpool 2. But I'm just taking your word for this on this.
Yes. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
then that
Yeah.
implies so anywhere else he went within that prime timeline, Logan's the same age everywhere he goes. Now he's not. He looks younger. Like he
Yeah.
quote unquote looks younger.
Yeah.
Also, we have time proof that Professor Xavier only again based on the comic book lore. If he gets Alzheimer's disease, which he has in Logan, well, he's definitely advanced in age. So if Deadpool's living in that space, everywhere else he goes, parallel. Logan's supposed to be that age, and he hasn't died yet. He's still just a crotchety old man, and he's not. He's all
Well.
prime Logan. Everywhere he went was prime Logan. Even Age of Apocalypse
Mm-hmm.
Logan, he's prime Logan because Age of Apocalypse happened within that timeline, within that
Mm-hmm.
time, and you see that version of Wolverine. Well, so it implies to me that Deadpool was traveling backwards in time and seeing prime Logan and cherry picking a prime Logan to help him, and it's not explained. And I know, and you
I
aren't
am.
you've made peace with it. I'm not. I
Yeah.
just can't make peace with it. I
I.
mean, it just bugs me.
It is.
Ah,
I mean, I am not defending the movie. Everything you're
I
saying
get
is
you.
a
I
hundred
get
percent
you.
correct, and
Ah,
You know.
I love, I love that you picked up on that at the very beginning. It took me a couple of weeks, and I'm like, wait a second, and now here we are. So you've actually mulled this over a little bit, and you didn't bring, you let me enjoy the movie,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
with no, yeah, but no, I can't. It just bothers me with how much. Again, it's funny because if you want to have sugar candy and all, that's one thing, but the weight of the whole, you know, the Jesus moment for Deadpool, all this weight of all the franchises, they imply, even though I don't care, it's all there. So you need to have these things solved, I think. But who am I? I'm animating a salamander getting launched up in the air by a warhog right now.
Mm-hmm.
So who am I
Mm-hmm.
to say anything? But
I,
anyways, I just wanted to talk to you about that on stream a little bit because I
I,
thought that was just
yeah. No, I
yeah.
think. I mean, I'm not gonna defend the movie because you're 100% correct.
Yeah.
But I also don't think the movie cares either.
Yeah. They got our money. It's
Yeah,
all good.
they
That's
got a
fine.
lot of people's money.
Yeah, they did. They did. So, anyways, but I just wanted to talk to you about that real quick. Yeah, so, just something just popped in my head while being in Texas in the heat, and then maybe affect my
Mm-hmm.
brain a little bit. And, yeah, but yeah, as far as Tommy Jane's stuff's going on here, I just wanted to kind of show you something. Like,
Yeah,
how I have this red line here,
yeah,
and then
yeah.
also if I turn on my onion skinning, you'll see that I'm just trying to follow the arc. If I turn the onion
Mm-hmm.
skinning on, you'll see all the stuff that I'm kind of working through. And again,
Mm-hmm.
it's not perfect yet. I might do one more in between right here where my arrow's at to kind of
Mm-hmm.
help smooth the arc a little bit. But if you follow her eyes, the arc is respecting that motion I wanted
Yeah,
for the most
yeah.
part. So so that part's good. So this scene is going healthy. I may need one more session to kind of keep it up. Like I said, I'll probably add one pose between here and here because it's
Yeah.
pretty snappy. Um, but yeah, it's going okay. If I play it in real time, that's kind of what it is. So here in this pose from here to here, from here to here, that is, I might take more of these poses and kind of blend it into this
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
for the eye to have a little bit of closure with the scene as an audience is watching it. But yeah, it's slowly coming together. Yeah,
Looking good. Looking good.
yeah. Any thoughts on your side as a spectator as I've distracted you with Logan, Wolverine,
No, no. I mean, I
Deadpool?
think it's an extremely complicated shot, and I think it exemplifies the hardest part of animation, right? These very unique, because this is like this angle is almost a fisheye aspect
Yep.
ratio, and it's highly
Yeah.
foreshortened,
Yeah.
and so her proportions are all over the place as a result of it, and
Yep.
so these
Yeah.
are very very unique poses that aren't going to be used again, most likely, right?
Yeah. Unless the writer wants to put in a shot where she gets launched up in the air again.
Every episode,
every epi- every episode
every
will launch her in
episode.
the air.
Yeah, every
Yeah.
episode.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, as far as blocking, all I'm doing is getting her basics hoodie, her legs. I'm not even
Mm-hmm.
focusing on her arms yet or any other details. All I want is the basic mass of her body to
Mm-hmm.
be launched up first, and I'll do the details as we go.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so I might reserve. I mean, I know we're kind of. I don't know if we're at time. If we want to still keep talking about other stuff. If you have
Well,
anything else on your
we've been
mind,
going
but
for about 35 minutes now. We did get a late
yeah,
start, so.
yeah. Um, but
And
yeah, I'm in a
once
pretty
upon
good
a time,
spot.
we were insistent that we were only going to ever do 30-minute episodes. That I
Yeah,
think
that
was
kind of.
3 years ago.
Yes, that was. But then once we started talking, once we got in the thick of things, we started talking video games and
You,
comic
yeah,
book movies.
you need
The
at least
winter's over.
45 minutes for that. At
Yeah,
least.
yeah, yes. But yeah, so I'm in a good spot for if I go solo next week. Maybe I'll keep working on this
Yeah, I
and I'll
mean,
just
yeah, okay.
talk
All
through
right.
it. Yeah.
I think we've done our minimum quotient. I think we have done our due diligence. We have fulfilled the contractual obligation that we've created for nobody in particular. So I'm fine calling it at 35 minutes. Again, I apologize to everybody for us getting a late start, but it won't be the case moving forward. Um, so yeah, I guess we'll wrap it up there and call it for the evening. And as a reminder, I won't be here next week. James is going to go solo, and he'll get into some of the details about the animation process. I watched the last one that you did solo, and I thought it was absolutely fascinating, very
Okay,
interesting.
cool.
So I highly
Cool.
recommend checking into those if you're curious about the sort of the nitty gritty about how animation works, and particularly Adobe Animate. It was almost like a tutorial, honestly. So it's
Oh,
really really valuable. So I definitely recommend checking that out. But
cool,
in the
cool.
meantime, though, so we'll be back, or James will be back next week. But before that, you can check us out at calamityjane.rocks. That will take you to our Patreon site. Please consider subscribing and helping us make this cartoon a reality. You can also find us on Facebook and YouTube, which presumably you already have since you're watching this stream. And we're also on Instagram. We'll occasionally post some fun stuff over there, background information, in production shots, thumbnails, that kind of stuff. So take a look out over there. But we'll post a link to the stream and all of those sources either way. In the meantime, I will see you in 2 weeks. James will see you in 1 week on the same Calamity channel, same Calamity time. Stay safe out there, everybody. We'll see you soon. Good night.
Night.